Watch and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight I want to discuss the Hives' Veni Vidi Vicious. This came out like around 1999, 2000. And this is the Hives record that sort of catapulted them to medium levels of mainstream fame. Main Offender was on here, as well as Hate to Say I Told You So. Those two songs were on heavy rotation on Much Music right around the same time that Millencolin had that song. I can't remember. I've never really been into Millencolin. I like some of their like ska-ish stuff. Their take on ska was really unique, but I never really got into them. But the video where they're all the guys in the band were in these like robots or some shit, some sort of like Robotech looking things. That video was on all the time too. And as I understand it, whatever label the Hives were on at this point, I think it was Burning Heart, that they were locked in pretty tight to an X number of album deal that I believe Burning Heart wouldn't let them out of because they wanted to sign to a major label, because based off the strength of Main Offender / Hate to Say I Told You So, except they couldn't get out of their contract or some shit like that, and I think they missed their window. Because I always felt that was a huge waste, because I always thought that the Hives, they had such a pop sensibility to all of their speedy craziness that just based off the strength of Main Offender / Hate to Say I Told You So, that this record should have sold well into the millions. This was, of course, released in a time when people were still purchasing records. And I do feel that this record was so strong, and this band was so deserving of a bigger fan base, that it was kind of a shame that it never really happened for them. But then on the flip side of that coin, the Hives do have a ton of fans. And here it is, all these years later in 2023, they just released Bogus Operandi, and it sounds like not much has changed. I will say with what was that one-off single? Was it Blood Red Moon? It was a complete departure, like sound-wise for them, but it was really exciting because it was like where the Hives were potentially going to go to next, but then nothing came from that. And then now we got Bogus Operandi, and it's exciting because it still sounds like the Hives from this era. And this record it's like, this is the sort of musical equivalent of sticking your tongue in a wall socket. Every single song on here hits like a fucking lightning bolt, except for I think it's Find Another Girl and Supply and Demand, if memory serves. I think they're the two slow songs on here, especially Find Another Girl. That song in a lot of ways is just straight up out of place. I mean, on here you have Main Offender, which again isn't the fastest song in the world, but it does have a lot of musical heft. Like guitar-wise, that song is very big. And the same with Hate to Say I Told You So. But despite the fact that they don't run at the same breakneck speed that the rest of the songs on here do, I find that they gel with the fast songs way better than Find Another Girl does. Find Another Girl is just straight out of place. I really dig that song, but it's almost like that should have been the album closer, or maybe a hidden song or some shit, because it does sort of subtract from the overall speed and sort of the heights that this record will very quickly achieve. Like, it's like I said, it's like, being electrocuted. I mean, on here, what is on here? Jesus Christ, where's everything I've written down? Yes, Die All Right's on here, Main Offender, Hate to Say, of course, Outsmarted. Oh, Metric System's on here, Supply and Demand's on here, and of course Metric System is the Hives Introduce, if memory serves. No, wait, is that the Hives Oh, damn, now I can't remember. I listen to this record all the time. Fuck, now I can't remember which part goes with which. And that's because I'm just going to level with you. I'm kind of a poser. I don't even like music. This whole channel it's about me being a fraud. What I do is I listen to people who are cooler than me. I hear their opinions on these records. I don't listen to music. I'm like Taylor Swift. I just stare at myself in a mirror. And so I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've never heard this record. No, but seriously, this record is fucking amazing. Everything they did, from Barely Legal to Tyrannosaurus, not everything, these three albums, Barely Legal to this to Tyrannosaurus, it's almost like that's one part of their history, and then they're like with their newer stuff, I shouldn't say they're newer, their newest stuff with like Tick Tick Boom and fucking Patrolling Days. Oh my god, dude, Patrolling Days is so catchy. But that is from, like, you know, the Lex Hives era, which is, like, I think their newest era. That record, those records, their two newest albums came out fucking way back. So, unfortunately, there's nothing to really connect the Hives to today other than, like, Bogus Operandi, which is really exciting because it means the Hives are back after this extended period of being away, and it's nice to see that they haven't lost any of that same that energy and that sense of, like, vitality that they had on Veni Vidi Vicious. It still seems to be very much alive in 2023, even though now the guys in the band have all got to be in their early to mid 50s. So I figure if they still have the energy to pull it off, that's fucking rad, because this record is, like, perfect. This, like, the Hives' 3 initial albums, had they never released anything after Tyrannosaurus, it would have been fine. Like, those 3 albums, it would have been like a trilogy, sort of like, of punk rock perfection. But then with their newer sound, I don't know, they sort of reinvented themselves. And then with Blood Red Moon, assuming I'm getting the title right, it was like, okay, now the Hives are going to do something altogether new, but nothing really materialized from that. And now we're just back to being reintroduced to sort of the old school Hives with their new single. And that's awesome, because I love this band, and I love knowing that they're back, because their entire discography is fucking flawless. I mean, you even have to get your hands on your new favorite band, because Untutored Youth is on there, because that was sort of like a B-side one-off that never made it to any of their full lengths. And Untutored Youth is so rad. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop talking, because for the most part I didn't even talk about this record. This record's amazing, but I ended up going off on tangents about the Hives in general. So, yeah, so thank you so much for hanging out with me while I attempted to discuss Veni Vidi Vicious. I didn't do a very good job, but thank you for hanging out with me all the same. Like always, if you like this review, do something nice for... Well, you should probably just do something nice for somebody no matter what. But don't forget that the world, too, is a better place because you are actually in it. You make the world a hell of a lot more fun. You may not feel that way, but you do. And, yeah, I'm going to go because I'm feeling kind of useless. Have a good night. Being eaten alive, too.